For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mauricio Olivares. I'm 18 years old, and I did my senior project on developing a website for those individuals that have been diagnosed with ADHD or ADD. So my essential question was, how can I design a useful and interactive source for people that struggle with ADD and ADHD? The reason why I chose this project is my mom always tells me the story when my little brother was diagnosed with ADHD back in, I would like to say like 2005. She didn't know anything about this disorder, which made her want to look it up on the internet. And obviously the information back in '05 on the internet was very limited to this matter. So she had to go to libraries, find resources. She had to just contact a bunch of people, which made me just want to get this information in just one place. Recent diagnosis. I was recently diagnosed with ADHD at 17 years old, which I could never ever have imagined that I had this. And then I was thinking, I was like, maybe I can make this as an opportunity to grow as a person with my recent diagnosis. And then also, my whole life in my family, there's a lot of individuals that have ADHD or ADD. So I wanted to show the world what these people go through every day and how they cope with their disorder and the things that we can do to help them and stuff like that, and just offer resources for them. So to start off, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that consists of inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. There's two types. There's predominantly inattentive, which does not include being hyperactive. And then there's predominantly hyperactive impulsive, which comes along with not paying attention, also having moments where where the individuals are just very uneasy and aren't able to control themselves. And yeah. For my mentor, I did Mr. Neville. The reason why I chose Mr. Neville was the fact that I have been in his classes, and since he is a paraprofessional, he makes sure that students can better understand the content of a class. And so obviously working with people with a certain mental disorder made me want to go for him, because he knows how to implement these strategies in the life of someone who may be going through, who may have the disorder. So the time frame, I began brainstorming in late September, early October, due to the fact that that was the time when I was diagnosed, and also that was the time where the whole senior project thing came at me, which was a little bit intimidating, but I was able to manage. I started my research on November. This is when I started going on Gale, and I found a lot of helpful things in there, not just about the disorder, but also about how I wanted to lay out my project, which is a website. I created the website in January. It was a bit tough because I used Wix to develop my website, but the thing is, Wix kind of tries to make websites to sell you something. So I was fighting a little bit with the way that Wix wants you to create the website, but I managed to do it, so it's just an informative website. And then I conducted an interview shortly after I created the website, which I used 3 people, one of them being my brother, and the other 2 wanted to remain anonymous to the public. The mission statement. So for my mission statement, I picked the mission of the Millis High School community is to provide each learner with ample opportunities to attain his/her greatest potential academically and socially. Our professional staff members will offer a challenging, meaningful, rigorous curriculum presented in a safe, respectful setting. The program of studies at Millis High School will promote intellectual, artistic, and physical development of each learner so that he/she can compete and achieve in the classroom, workplace, and community. And the way that I connected it to my project is that obviously everyone deserves the same level of success, and I feel like my website, with my included coping mechanisms and all of the resources that I've added onto it, can help students reach their full potential, and also they can stay confident in school since they're not going to feel like outsiders because of this disorder. And that was why I connected it to that mission statement. What I hope to accomplish is I want to have a lasting source that is constantly updated, which I'm able to make posts in the website, so is everyone else who joins, but we'll get more into that later. I want to create a community of people that don't feel left out by the disorder so that they can all come together and just help each other understand disorder and stuff. And I want to have a welcoming atmosphere in the website. And again, this is just for people to not feel alone or left out in whatever environment they're involving themselves in. The name of the website it's called Mindful Moment. So a quick overview, it has a bunch of coping skills and advice for people with ADHD and ADD. By interactive sources, I mean that there's people are able to speak and make a community, which is like it's the biggest part of this project, for people to come together and make a community for people with this disorder. And yeah, the community creation, it's really important to me to know what people are going through, and obviously other people can help people that haven't just diagnosed with it, or who just need help or talk about their stuff with their disorder. This is my homepage. I have a it's just quick access. You can access the articles that I have posted. I have one on how physical activity support disorder. I have testimonials, and then I have podcast episodes. I also have coping strategies that I acquired the coping strategies by talking to my therapist. She was very helpful with this since she does specialize in children. And I also have a mission statement that basically tries to include everyone and have kind of a home for these people. And again, that's the biggest part of this project. My blog, I have different coping strategies that I laid it out by going through age. So you got young children, then you got adolescents, and you got adults, and then older adults, which is very helpful because when I conducted some research, I found out that people that have ADHD or ADD find it way more helpful when the information is structured in such things as bullet points, not just huge chunks of information, because they just lose track of it. I included podcast episodes, which I interviewed 3 people, 2 who are anonymous, and my brother. And the podcast episodes go along with just visuals. I just picked like very cozy colors while they're listening to the podcast. And then I did an overview of what ADD and ADHD are in the website, which I have explained earlier in my presentation. The design of the website, when I was conducting some research, again, not huge walls of text because it's very easy to lose attention that way. I picked not like a jet black, but like it's like a dark gray. And I found out that color, it's very nice to the eyes. It doesn't really make you lose track of the information. I use familiar vocab, meaning that it's very easy to access it and understand my website, because that's what I'm all about in this website, which is making it very accessible for everyone. And it's not bombarded by links, meaning that my website will not redirect you to another website. So everything is neatly placed in one place, so it's not too much for whoever's using it. How people played a role in this project. As you can see, this is my brother typing stuff in the community part. Him, along with the other 2 people, tested the website. They found it to be very pleasing. They also allowed me to get testimonials about how their disorder has impacted their lives and the things that they have done to cope with the disorder. And then, obviously, with the help of these people, I was able to design the website so that it was welcoming for people with ADHD or ADD. The recording podcast, again, I got 3 people to share their experiences. The questions were, when were you first diagnosed? What coping strategies have you used to make it better? What advice would you give to help people with ADHD, ADD, and how did it affect you growing up? I have people of different ages, so there's like a difference between the answers and the questions. And then I also, with this, learned how to produce sound recording, which it was pretty fun. I got to master the audios and just get them to sound neat and not muffled, because one of the interviews were conducted through a phone call because Apple lets you record phone calls now. So that was pretty helpful, especially considering the fact that the person lives far away. So the feedback from the users, they said they found it very appealing. They found themselves going back to it because of all of the information that it provided. And they also felt a sense of belonging in the community aspect since they were able to post their experiences with the disorder. I would like my project to harvest a large community of people with the disorder. I would also like to work along with healthcare professionals to implement more professional tactics for these people to cope with their ADHD, and I would also like to get more interviews, which is also, it also complements the community part of it because it's more people. And my reflection, what I got out of this was personal growth, because I learned a lot about other people and disorder and myself while I did this. Skill building, I learned how to develop a website. I had never ever done that in my life, so that was pretty helpful. It's a very useful skill. I also learned how to properly interview people and master audio and stuff like that, and just learn how to put myself in the shoes of those who have been diagnosed with disorder, and how to compare it to my perspective of the disorder. This is my works cited for the definition of ADD and ADHD, and yeah, that's all.